If you're struggling with swaying off to the ball in the backswing, you can't pivot, you can't turn, and it's causing you issues with your ball striking, I'm going to help you today. I had a new student, Ollie, who came to me with this exact issue, and it was causing weak, high right shots with his driver that weren't going anywhere near as far as he felt it should do. Before we get started, subscribe so I can help you play better golf. And check out the first pinned comment for a completely free swing analysis where we can deep dive into your game and get you playing better. His ball flight was so high because he was exposing too much loft at impact. Loft is the amount of angle the club face here points upward on, and it can either be de-lofted or we can have loft added to it by the time that you strike the golf ball. If we add too much loft to it, so the club head here passes my hands, this can make the golf ball go very high, and it tends to go a little bit slower. It tends not to go as far or as fast, and it spins a little bit more, all completely killing distance. The reason Ollie hit it with so much loft was because of how he shifted his pressure during his golf swing. He would start the swing by shifting his weight over to his right side here, and you'll note that as he swings back, his lead knee stays very flexed here, doesn't really straighten, and at the same time his left leg here is quite straight and over, so his body is really over to the right here. He's kind of moved laterally off the ball a touch. Now this makes it difficult for him to hit those compressed, powerful golf shots because he's all the way back over here, and he's got to get all the way back over here to retain some shaft lean and actually take some loft off the club here. So his tendency was to be too far back in his right leg at impact then, and the club head would pass the hands here, add too much loft, and he'd see those big, high, weak misses. The first thing that we did here was investigate his foot flare. The direction that our toes are pointing completely influences how we're going to shift pressure and weight. So if my foot here, my right foot, is flared outward to the side quite a lot, which we saw a lot of with Ollie, the more that foot is opened out, yes, it does open up the hip here, which should theoretically help us turn into our right side, but it has the unfortunate disadvantage. Generally speaking, when our toes are flared out like this, we tend to move our knee in the direction of our toes. And that's exactly what we saw with Ollie. As he swung back, his knee moved out in the direction of his toes, which caused this kind of excessive sideways motion here. We weren't able to get any pivot, any backward with the hip because this knee would go too outward, and his weight was too much on his back leg there. So we squared up this right foot, trying to get it almost straight up and down with a minor amount of flare there. And now we needed to start to train the pivot. We needed to start to him to understand that his body pressure here is going to stay very central as opposed to moving back here. And we did this through using a yoga foam wedge. We placed this under his right foot. So the side of the right foot here, the right side of it, is on the angle of the foam wedge here. So this forces us to feel like we're going to be more left with our body weight now. And try and feel on the backswing that he was pushing into that wedge. He's pushing back into it. This started to give him a wonderful feeling of how to pivot here and stay very central as opposed to moving sideways. So as he pushes into this foam wedge here, he drives that right hip back as he allows that right leg to straighten. This keeps him much more on top of it. Now he's much more target side with his body at the point he strikes the ball, and the flight came down by about half. He went from having an apex of over 100 feet, 110, 120 feet, super high, super spinny, to bring it down to about 70 feet height. Miles better. We then took the foam wedge away and tried to recreate the exact same feeling in his golf swing. So can we get this right foot flared up? We actually move the ball position marginally back. We then try and feel that we're driving this right hip back, staying very central on top of it so that we can deliver the club with a bit less loft, get that lower ball flight, that hotter ball flight out there. And he did a wonderful job of it, as you'll see here. So much more on top of it in the backswing, as opposed to when that right foot gets overly flared out and we start to move that knee out here, we get super on our trail side, and then we're delivering it with loads of loft. If you're struggling to perfect your pivot and it's causing you issues in your golf swing, then flaring your right foot out more is probably not the answer that we're looking for. We need to figure out a way to drive this hip back as opposed to letting the knee slide sideways. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, subscribe so I can keep helping you play better golf, and check out the description and the pinned comment directly below for a completely free swing analysis where I'll deep dive into your golf swing and set out exactly how you can hit stronger, more consistent shots all the time. Have an incredible day.